Hey everyone, so I'm gonna try to make this video as short and sweet as possible, seeing as how I didn't put this up Monday. I'm gonna put this up later tonight since it's Friday and Rosewood comes on tonight, so the new episode. So this is last week's episode, just FYI. It's season 2, episode 15, called Clavicle, Trauma, and Closure. And I will be doing tonight's episode, and I will put that up Monday, for Monday, so I'll make it sometime this weekend and then put it up on Monday so that I'm back on schedule. Anyway, so episode, I'm gonna try to do, try to recap the story as quickly as possible. So basically what happens is this app, developer named Raymond Larson dies, and when Rosewood is doing his autopsy initially, he sees in a photograph that there's this ruby ring that is in it, that's laying on the, I guess, on a counter somewhere when the photo was taken, and he realizes that Tanya had the same exact ring, and so what she would do was she would take off that red ring whenever she did dishes for Rosewood. So he assumes that, and rightfully, that she is somehow involved either with the victim in some way or with his death, or both. He doesn't know. Initially he thinks yes. Basically, as he goes to, talk to Villa after he leaves a message for her, leaves a message for Villa, he gets in his car and Tanya walks up. And so basically throughout the whole episode, they are, Villa and Rosie are trying to figure out who killed Raymond, and at first he keeps Tanya hidden from both the team / family members and Villa. So he initially does that. He initially keeps Tanya secret, so that he could keep the investigation with him. And so he goes to Juju and has Juju put an ankle monitor on Tanya, so that he could keep tabs on her at all times. And he well, this is one of the funnier moments in the episode where he's like, if you leave outside the radius, I'm gonna put a bullet out on your ass. If you miss check-in, which is every 6 hours, I'm gonna put a bullet out on your ass. If you sneeze, I'm gonna put a bullet out on your ass. It's just like that. I mean, it was supposed to be serious, but it was also kind of funny, in my opinion. But anyway, so basically, along the way, they find out that Raymond was taking Ambien along with tons of alcohol. Ambien is supposed to help put you to sleep, if you guys don't know. And Rosie also notices that the indentation, the way they found him, I didn't mention this, but the way they found him was he was hanging by his neck from a noose. That's how they found him. So they don't necessarily want to call it a suicide, but they also want to find out. Also think that it could be a murder. So not totally ruling out suicide, but they're gonna go straight with murder for at the beginning of the episode. Anyway, so Rosie had noticed the indentations of the person who hoisted Raymond up by the noose to stage his death like a suicide, and he just basically at this point definitely thinks that it couldn't have been made by a woman, so thus it couldn't have been made by Tanya couldn't have pulled him up up on the beam that was supporting him, because he's heavier than Tanya is. Tanya looks like she's 130 pounds. So there, and Raymond looks like he's easily 170, if not heavier than that. So dead weight is not easy to lift. Any weight, whether it's living or dead, is not easy to fucking lift. So no way Tanya could have done that if that's how, if strangulation via noose is how he died. But and eventually Rosie tells Villa, begrudgingly I guess, that Tanya, well, first he tells Pippi and TMI and Mitchie that Tanya's involved, or at least was involved with the Raymond, and that Raymond was her next mark and everything. And then he eventually tells Villa, but Villa then, has this little. Well, I'm gonna save that for later. I'm gonna save that for the end. But so when Villa finds out, Villa's like, well, how do you know that she's not working with like a 6'6" son? Because she's had a partner before. And and Villa's like, you remember, I'm like, Kayla. You remember Kayla? So it's like, he could have a 6'6" son as a partner, and he could have hoisted Raymond up there, but Rosie isn't buying it. Back at the lab, Donna finds out that Tanya had requested Rosie to clear her name, but Donna eventually, has Raymond's body transferred to the medical examiner, the county medical examiner, or Adrian, basically. But Rosie doesn't find this out right away. First, he and Villa go talk to Ivan and Bradley. Bradley was, I guess you could say, fired. I mean, he didn't phrase it like that, but he was, I guess, quote unquote, fired. And Ivan reveals that Raymond's investors backed out of cold feet because of money issues. But that's just but they think Tanya may have gotten to him first, or something like that, or I don't know. Anyway, while there, Rosie, kind of sees a what looks like a suicide note, and Vio is like, trying to make sure that it's not suicide and it's murder, and Rosie's like, well, I'm pretty sure it's murder, but I just got to prove it first. So go back to the lab, and that's when they find out that Donna transferred the body to the medical examiner. So they go over to Adrian, and Adrian figures out that there's a second ligature mark underneath the one that the noose made, that definitely killed Raymond. It was just covered up by the noose. That's all. Rosie then, goes over to Pippi's apartment, finds TMI there, and Pippi and TMI are in the sexy lingerie, getting it on, basically, when Rosie kind of just, comes in unannounced, trying to find out about the DNA results, and TMI comes down and is like, well, it's not going to be ready until morning because I didn't know we needed to fast track it. But she says initially she found 3 sets of DNA on on Raymond. So basically, the next day, Villa questions the woman, and one of them reveals that Tanya came around the night before he died, and Raymond wasn't happy about it. Rosie then confronts Tanya about it, and Tanya's like, well, Raymond asked for his money back because it was a matter of life or death, and so she gave all the money she had left, and which was $100,000, I think, and she says she gave the money back because she loved him and he was worth changing for, and I'm just like, girl, I'm not buying that part of the story. And so basically, I'll give you a clever name, I'll find a way to get your money back, but he has her arrested anyway. So basically, Adrian found out there's like I said, there was a second line underneath the line that was the news created, and that was the cause of death. Basically, like I said before. So basically, it's in the angle of that second line could have been made by Tanya. Or Donna goes to speak with Tanya, and she asks, like, the usual questions, where's Rosie's money, and all that stuff, but Tanya says it's gone. Donna doesn't buy it, though, and Tanya gives what Donna believes is a sob story, that her mother was a grifter all Tanya's life, and which was all, so, and basically being a grifter was all her mother knew, and being a grifter, showing Tanya how to be a grifter was all Tanya knew how to do, and she also reveals that she scammed the wrong person when she was younger. I'm assuming younger than 18, but older than like 11, and has since been paying for it. But alright, because of that, she has to give the money she takes from people to this person, whoever it may be. I think the writers, this is kind of like an early prediction, but I think the writers are gonna make this an issue, like make this whole person that Tanya has to give money to a thing. I think they're gonna make that a thing. But I'm just saying. I mean, why else bring that up then? I mean, just to have her lie yet again, I kind of doubt it. But anyway, let's see. We find out that Adrian's mother's Alzheimer's is progressing faster than the doctors thought. Now Adrian's mother needs 24/7 care. Needs to be put into an assisted living home. But the assisted living home that she liked didn't accept her in, and so Adrian plans on resigning to take care of her full time. Then Donna comes by and tells them what Tanya said, and they realize Raymond may have owed money to the wrong person. Eventually find out the app that Raymond had developed earlier for diabetics to check their blood sugar had malfunctioned really badly, and it put a 62-year-old mother into a coma, and Rosie figures out that he was sending money to pay for her medical bills, but couldn't anymore, and that's why he was taking Ambien, because he felt guilty, and so he was staying up and all that. Rosie then looks at a picture of the woman who is in a coma, whose name is Louisa, and sees some white spots on her left cheek, and thinks he knows who killed Raymond. Turns out it was Ivan, who was Louisa's grandson, and he claimed he asked Raymond to keep paying for her medical bills, but one day, or earlier that week, the day that Raymond was killed, Ivan found out that his grandmother couldn't recover. He then confesses to killing Raymond without any prodding, basically. And after the confession, Adrian's like, well, the case isn't over. Let's see. the murder weapon is a silk rope belt, which has fingerprints and epithelials on it. It turns out it belongs to this woman named Sarah, who is Ivan's sister and one of the women Raymond slept with. Rosie then goes up to Donna and is like, well, it's okay that you transfer the case, and went to go see Tanya, but she needs to let him be, like, what battle his, fight his own battles. Sorry, couldn't think of the word. And this is when she reveals she knows about his dialysis and stuff like that, and how, and she's like, well, you need to tell the family and the team, and we need to just take, and then we're just gonna take this one day at a time. Adrian asks Villa to meet his mother, even though her memory is fading, and then Villa is like, tells him that she and Rosie pulled up strings to get his mother into the assisted living home she wanted to get into, so he doesn't have to resign. Rosie then visits Tanya and tells her he isn't there to forgive her or to get his money back. He's there to tell her that even though it's not good to see her in prison or see her lose her freedom, it's great to see her lose her freedom. I'm just like, you go, yes, please, like. Anyway, so that's basically it. I tried to keep this short, but I couldn't help it. Anyway, so tonight on Rosewood, there's a counterfeit money operation that's happening in Miami. And I want to note that we didn't get Slade or Hornstock this episode, and it looks like we will get it tonight. Not totally sure, but if we're actually gonna get them tonight, it looked like we're gonna get them back. Because I noticed that, like, pretty much towards the end of the episode, that Hornstock and Slade weren't even there in the entire episode. They're like not even a passing through a kind of thing. They were nowhere to be found in the entire episode. So I'm hoping, because I actually love Hornstock. He's probably my second favorite character next to Rosie. So anyway, so I kind of had two predictions here. None for tonight's episode, but I think that the writers are going to bring this mystery man that Tanya talked about into a future episode. I also think that's my first prediction. I also think that somehow, some way, most likely because of this mystery man, Tanya's gonna end up on life support, but she's not gonna recover, and her heart is gonna go to Rosie, because they're gonna be a match somehow. I think that's gonna happen. Those two predictions are gonna happen, and because of the heart coming from Tanya, Donna's gonna be like, no, you're not gonna take this heart from the bitch that stole all your money from you. Basically, this was gonna happen. Because I still think that somehow, some way, she's gonna end up giving him his heart, because of, and it's gonna be this big ass deal because of, like, who she is and what she did. So I think this was gonna happen, because I still think that somehow, some way, she's gonna end up being an organ donor for Rosie, and this mystery man that she quoted this episode is gonna be the person who puts her into a coma that she's not gonna come out of, and she's gonna end up donating. She's gonna have in place organ donation, and her heart's gonna go to Rosie or any other organs that she can donate. Because dialysis is, I think, only for kidneys. I don't think this is for anything else. I think it's just for kidneys, but I could be wrong. So there's that. Anyway, so that's all I have. So I will see you guys in the next video for Rosie. And Elementary comes on back on Sunday. So after 3 weeks, I'm like, shit, really? 3 weeks? Like, what the fuck happened that made you go off for 3 weeks? Because they were on for a couple weeks and then they went out. Okay, sorry. Had to go up right there for a second. Anyway, see you guys later.